could get elements, little bits from your book and turn it into a high quality PE lesson, what would you be looking for yourself who's delivering it, and then put it into your own shoes, somebody who's observing it?
Ah, that's a great question, Sam. That's something we could talk about for a long, long time. So, there's two chapters in the book. I think chapter 9 and 10, maybe, which takes all the things that I talked about in all the previous chapters and incorporates them into a primary lesson example and then a secondary lesson example. So you might read the first 8 chapters and say, "Wow, this is a lot of stuff," right? What does it even look like to have all of these things implemented in a lesson? And then you get to chapter 9 and you read through an elementary or primary PE lesson, and you can see how all of the things are detailed in there. I would say that the non-negotiables, the foundational pieces that you need to have. First one, of course, like you always talk about, is your learning environment. You have to have high expectations for student behavior. You have to clearly communicate them to students, and you need to hold students accountable if they don't meet those expectations. That's first and foremost. The second thing is going to be having a standards-based we call them content and language objectives. Uh, you have to students have to know what they're supposed to make progress towards throughout the lesson. We shouldn't just be in there playing games and activities with no purpose. So you have to find a way to find the standards-based learning and then connect it to the activities and the games. And then the third thing I would say would be some form of assessment. I don't think every single day you have to have the most intense assessment ever. You don't have to give students exit tickets, little slips of paper with questions on them every day. You might want to do that once a week. Uh, but you have to be taking some sort of assessment, not just for grading, right? That's a whole nother topic, but so that you can reflect on your teaching and make modifications for the next class. Because if you're not capturing some sort of data, you're just going to move on to the next lesson and the next lesson and the next lesson without making the modifications that your students need. So I would say those are the three main components that every teacher should focus on in every lesson. And then, of course, there's, a dozen other things that we could start to layer on top of those.